Few fans of Game of Thrones would disagree with the idea that Robb Stark was flawed. It's something that Robb himself would probably admit to given the chance. However, his flaws unequivocally led to his downfall in such a tragic way that ultimately the failure of his reign and the horrors that occurred in the wake of it can be blamed on no one other than Robb himself. From the beginning, Robb reigned with a sharp mind for strategy in battle, but with no grasp of strategy when it came to politics. He ruled with his heart more than his mind. He constantly put his sense of honor before anything else, and much like his father, it was this that ultimately led to his downfall. Perhaps Robb's first failure was in the way that he dealt with the unpredictable Theon Greyjoy. Having been raised together, Robb seemed to view Theon as a friend, another member of the family. But this couldn't have been further from the truth from Theon's point of view. While he no doubt felt some amount of loyalty to the Starks, as viewers would see in later seasons, first and foremost, Theon thought of himself as truly Ironborn, an heir to the Salt Throne held captive by Ned Stark. He also may have intuited that having been held captive for so long by the Starks, there was little chance that his father, Balon Greyjoy, would view him as anything but weak and thus not deserving of the throne and certainly unwilling to assist Robb's armies. Instead, Robb sent the duplicitous Theon off to treaty with Balon. Then, when Theon was rebuffed by the elder Greyjoy, he chose to seize Winterfell in a poorly thought out bid to impress his father. This had the unintended consequence of making Robb appear weak to other northern lords. After all, if a man couldn't hold on or defend his own family home, how effective could he really be as king? His second great failure was the execution of Rickon Stark. Granted, Rickar's murder of Martin and Willem Lannister was an act that left Robb at a disadvantage strategically and was needlessly cruel and uncalled for, as they were merely two unarmed squires and played no part in the death of Rickar's sons, who were in fact killed by Jaime Lannister. Robb's decision, against the strong advice of his council, to execute Rickard solely out of a sense of honor only served to alienate the Karstark family, a family that had long been Stark allies and bannermen. Robb's most monumentally calamitous mistake, however, was in marrying Talisa Maegor. Previous to meeting when he was immediately taken with this healer on the battlefield, Robb had been promised to marry one of Walder Frey's daughters in order to form a strategic alliance with the Frey family, who controlled a key path to cross the Trident. As a king, it was vital that Robb adhere to agreements made with other lords, but instead he chose to follow his heart and marry Talisa, thereby enraging the Freys and proving to everyone that he is not a man of his word. Robb paid dearly for his mistakes. The Red Wedding was more punishment than anyone should have to endure in 10 lifetimes, but it so easily could have been avoided had Robb been insightful and calculating enough to put politics over honor and the needs of his family and those he ruled over the needs of his heart. Read more about Robb Stark at Game of Thrones Wiki.